Hey, good morning, everybody. Hello and welcome in. It is a Friday on Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. I am outside of network control at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. Barry, once again, on the road with the Troy Trojans in a hotel room in
Harrisonburg, Virginia. This
Harrisonburg,
is,
Virginia.
let's see, this is the fourth different place on this road trip that I have done the show. I did it the first day in Florence, South Carolina, then Norfolk, Virginia, then Blacksburg, Virginia. Now in Harrisonburg, Virginia, where the Troy baseball team opens up a 3-game series at James Madison this afternoon. John is at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. Looks like it's a pretty decent morning out there today.
Yeah, well, a little overcast, believe it or not, Barry. I don't know where all this came from. Interesting story. There must have been some bad weather in Atlanta, particularly near Hartsfield last night, because there were about 15 aircraft parked on the apron out at MGM that had to divert to Montgomery last night due to some bad weather. Wow, was it pretty cool? It was airlines from all over the country diverting here, which happens quite a bit during inclement weather. I was out picking someone up at the airport, that's why I noticed that. But I noticed there was a moon. You could see the moon and the skies were clear, but this morning, a little overcast. It looked like it did rain last night, but I think the clouds are going to break, and it's going to be a beautiful weekend here in Central Alabama. And certainly a beautiful weekend over at Augusta National. Barry, I pulled out the Master shirt today. There it is.
See it. Yep.
Yeah, I pulled out the Master shirt today. I got into the spirit this morning after watching a lot of the coverage yesterday. And once again, CBS and ESPN doing a great job. And, man, how about Justin Rose yesterday? Man, what a round.
There's two things that have become kind of a tradition at the Masters lately. One of them is not necessarily lately. John has said this before. Never get excited when you're making your Masters picks at who wins the par 3. Nico Echevarria wins it. Nobody ever wins the Masters who has won the par 3. Here's the other thing. Don't ever get excited, and I don't know how many people we have had who's ever even said anything about it. Don't anybody get excited about Justin Rose leading after the first round. You know, he's always a heavy starter, but, oh, man, hey, how about Justin Rose this year? Don't worry about it. Justin Rose, 7 under, 3 straight birdies to open, ended up with a 3-stroke lead after the first round. Justin Rose, ladies and gentlemen. John, it is the 9th time, it's like Principal Rooney said, 9 times that he has led or co-led after a round, any round at Augusta. 9 times he has either led or shared the lead at Augusta, but has never won the green jacket.
Yeah,
that's the most among players who has not won a green jacket. He has done everything at Augusta you can possibly do positively, except win a Masters.
Yeah, I'm sure he probably thought about that last night, that the starts that he's had and being able to close the deal. You got Rory McIlroy. He was leaking some oil on the backside yesterday, a couple of bad holes, 15, just a pitch shot that rolled into the water. Found it interesting that he went back on the other side of the pond to hit his next shot, but took a double bogey there. Didn't do well on 17. But, you kind of get those little things out of your system. Going into round 2 today, guys hitting the golf course early. Of course, the afternoon wave is playing in the morning today. You kind of flip-flop it. But certainly a great day from Justin Rose. A lot of people's picked Scotty Scheffler bogey-free yesterday.
Yes.
Pretty impressive round from Scotty Scheffler. Not having any bad holes there yesterday to be 4 under, just 3 behind the lead. Bryson DeChambeau, also a big name, not too far off. Barry, I was told today by Range Pro, he texted me this morning, he said, hey, make sure Barry knows his man Harris English, 2 under yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Harris English is my guy. I liked his round. You know who I liked? I actually saw this. I didn't get a chance to watch it live because of things and traveling and getting ready and stuff. Shot of the day. Boom, boom. Freddie Couples holed out an eagle. Finished tied for 11th. Freddie broke par
One
Uh,
under.
one under 71. And I got to see I guess it was live. Maybe they didn't replay it, but hold out an eagle. Freddie still got it.
He still got it.
there.
Smoothest swing on the tour. Doesn't even look like he's hitting it.
Used to drive me crazy because I'd wail away at it and skull it or hit it fat or whatever. Freddie just smooth and easy, and it just rockets.
Barry,
off of the club
I've had
face.
so many golf instructors tell me, look, man, it ain't how hard you swing at it. You got to make sure everything's lined up in the right spot when you get back to the ball. And it's all about being smooth and consistent. It's taken me a long time to figure that out. I'm trying to get more into that, particularly as I get on it's now that I'm on the senior tour.
Right.
I'm learning to just, you don't have to wail it and kill it when you get over it. But Freddie got a sweet swing. And that's great to see from a guy that is a senior tour player. He plays in about 5 or 6 senior events, non-major senior events every year. So he's still getting it going. But yeah, good to see a former Masters champion at under par yesterday. That's our age.
Also, there's some good times. There were some bad times.
Before you get to the bad times, can I just tell you, Victor Hovland 1 under? Just saying.
Looking in the weeds, hanging around. Look,
new putter, new driver. Shane Lowry also 1 under as well.
We all know Justin Rose ain't winning it. He'll get off to a good start. He'll have a little bit of screen time, but on Sunday, he ain't going to be there.
No.
It's one of those guys that John is pointing out, a Hovland, a Harris English, a Scheffler, a Oberg, some of those guys that are kind of hanging around that are going to make their move out there. Now, among the losers of the day, in one of the worst rounds in Masters history, Nick Dunlap, Alabama golfer.
Former Alabama golfer.
Oh, yeah. Former Alabama golfer Nick Dunlap. He's in last place. He is 11 shots behind the field. If he's going to get out of last place, he's got to make up 11 shots on somebody. Safe to say you won't see Nick Dunlap on Sunday. 18 over par, 90. The next to that's in last place. The next to the last guy shot a 79. He's 11 strokes in the basement.
Yeah, well, he's got to make up 16 today just to get to the projected cut of +2. So Nick's probably already made some weekend plans. He has probably got he'll be turning his courtesy car in. Let's see, tees off at 11:50. He should be through by 3:50. He could probably be back to the Atlanta airport by, 6:30, 7 o'clock. So he's probably got his weekend plans already made elsewhere than at Augusta National.
Now, but don't be all judgy.
Yeah, I'm looking at I'm trying to find his card. Okay. Well,
it shouldn't be hard. Just scroll till you get to the bottom.
He made a double bogey. Bogeyed the first hole. Then he bogeyed 3 and 4. Then he took a triple on 5, which is the tough part. That hole doesn't get enough love. It's a tough par 4.
Bear in mind this, as John goes down his round, Nick Dunlap, 18 over, a 90 in the opening round, took 90 shots, John. And as you look down his card, here's what you won't see. You won't see a single 3-putt. He didn't 3-putt a single hole, and he still shot 90.
Well, I tell you what else I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing a green square either, which indicates a birdie.
No.
I didn't take a birdie all day. He triples 5. He doubles 11. He doubles 12, doubles 16, and doubles 18 with a bunch of other bogeys mixed in. How do you bogey? He must have hit it in the water on 11 and 12, 16 maybe hits it in the water there as well.
Nick,
tough day. I wonder what a guy like Nick Dunlap, when he walked off the course yesterday and he's talking to his friends and his family, what do you say? How do you go to bed? When you get into bed, do you sit at the ceiling and go, man, What happened here? What do I do
What?
tomorrow?
Yeah.
When he walks up today, he's kind of got to be a little embarrassed, you would think, when he hits the
What?
practice tee.
And you play. I know you've talked before about how much you enjoy the support and the encouragement of your playing partners. They're always, very supportive, very little trash talking. I'm trying to be facetious there. What do you say if you want to be supportive of Nick? Hey, man.
Hey, man. Tough round.
Tomorrow's another day. Go get him.
Yeah.
On Friday. So one of the worst rounds in Masters history. But don't get judgy on him. Don't sit back there and say, "Oh, boy, did he really cough up one." No, because everybody's been there who's ever played golf, right?
Oh, yeah.
Especially at a place like that. Everybody's been there. Also, John, don't get judgy about my second loser at the Masters. Big shout out to Jose Luis Ballester. Ever heard of him? Me neither.
No.
He is an amateur playing at Augusta National. He's from Spain, Jose Luis Ballester. He was playing alongside Scotty Scheffler yesterday. Took a break as he played the 13th hole. Took a break.
Yeah.
Some spectators noticing what he was doing as he turned his back to the grandstand and relieved himself into Race Creek.
Ooh, that can get you not invited back.
He said this. He's 21 years old. Jose Luis Ballester is the U.S. amateur champion, playing at the Masters for the first time. 4 over in the opening round, not bad. After his round, he admitted that he urinated into Race Creek. He admitted that to reporters, but said he would do it again if he had to. He said, "I completely forgot that we had those restrooms to the left of the tee box. And then I'm like, I really need to pee. I didn't really know where to go. And since JT had an issue on the green, I'm like, I'm just going to sneak here into the river and probably people would not see me that much. And then they clapped for me." Probably one of the claps that I got today that was really loud, so that was kind of funny.
Barry, that there is a restroom facility right off the 11th tee for the players.
Dad, he forgot it was there.
Yeah, that you don't see. I can imagine the officials at Augusta didn't like that at all, and they're going to let him know that.
He said, they saw me. They saw me. It was not embarrassing at all for me. If I had to do it again, I would do it again. Whether they will take action remains to be seen.
Interesting. Yeah.
Don't be judgy. Don't any of you start laughing or anything like that, because you know you did it. You know you've done that. I mean, come on. Let's not. Oh, what an absolute travesty. Urinating into Race Creek in the middle of the Masters. Let me tell you, you guys.
I will say this, Barry.
You've done it.
I've done it at local muni. I'm not doing it at Augusta National. I'm not doing it at Pebble Beach. I'm not doing it at Congressional or one of these, historic tournament
into Race Creek, John.
But into Race Creek, yeah, come on.
I mean, that's a story. Years from now, they're going to have all of these Masters compendiums, and they're going to, like the old ones where they had Gabby Bell and some of the, I remember Coach Brian once ran me till I puked. They're going to have, here's Jose Luis Ballester, who once peed into Race Creek in the middle of the tournament. So he's got that going for him.
Barry, remember yesterday I mentioned Noah Kent, the amateur that was high up on the leaderboard. He had birdied 2 of the first 5 holes. He finished 7 over. Boy, he had a rough round. I mean, he was up there high on the leaderboard. Noah Kent, the amateur, but it went south from there. He was 2 under after 4, and he carded several double bogeys or worse himself. But the amateur with a tough round yesterday, and it can do that to you. You can get a little cocky and a little high on yourself, and then boom, next thing you know, you're at 7 over par. But
bear in mind, and the Phantom has always told me this: at least you got mentioned. At least you got some people buzzing about you for a little while.
Spell my name correctly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're talking about. So
there
round
you go.
2, later today. We'll, of course, keep you updated on some of the early guys going out at Augusta National this morning. Alabama had a scrimmage yesterday, Barry. There again, not a lot of juicy details about it. I think that's what you're going to hear from now on. Very quiet about the quarterback position. And it's been a long time, Barry, but Alabama's playing that quarterback game like, oh, I don't know. It's very competitive, and we got to extend this thing throughout the spring and summer. After the scrimmage yesterday, and I'll say it again, and I feel even stronger about it, I cannot imagine the three quarterbacks that are there, Barry, that all three of them are going to be there when the season starts.
Much less start, all three of them, all that. Meanwhile, at Auburn, hour-long open scrimmage. Jason Caldwell says the thing may be, you may be in and out in an hour. It ain't always going to be a scrimmage. They'll maybe have a couple 7-on-7s, fan day after that. And I'm okay with it all.
Yeah,
I really am.
I am as well. And my thing about Alabama, though, Barry, I was listening to some national guys as I was heading up to Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram here in Montgomery. The number one Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer in Alabama. I'm about to tell you more about that in just a second.
Yeah.
And they were talking about the Alabama quarterback situation. And they were talking about Ty Simpson, and they seem to think that, he's the guy. I know Greg McElroy has said something about that as well, the former Alabama quarterback. But the more I think about it, Barry, is Kalen DeBoer getting into that same rut he got into with Jalen Milroe? Well, the guy's been here, and he's the next man up, and I got to be loyal to these guys. They were loyal to me. I hope that's not the case. I've seen Ty Simpson in limited duty.
Right.
He started, I believe, in the South Florida game, Nick Saban's last year when they put Milroe on the bench. So we've gotten to see this guy play a little bit. But I think Kalen DeBoer's got to put the best player out there. And this loyalty business and this, he's been around and he hung with me, so I got to hang with him. You better play the best quarterback you got.
Otherwise, loyalty isn't going to matter whether you're loyal to the quarterback. It's whether the fans are loyal to you. You and that quarterback can ride off into the sunset together. Well,
Barry, listen to this.
All right, here we go.
Hot off the presses.
Again, there's still smoke coming off of the piece of paper. Do you see it?
Barry, I just teased it, as they say.
Yeah.
Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the number one CDJR dealership in the state of Alabama. How about that?
Everybody.
And also now, Barry, they're ordering the Freedom of Choice pricing program. Only number one Stivers offers below employee pricing. How about that? Below employee pricing. How about the Jeep Compass starting at $22,999? That's over $7,300 off the sticker.
Yep.
Jeep Wrangler Sierras up to $14,000 off. Also, the Ram lineup, Ram 1500 Laramies up to $17,000 off plus 3.9% APR. And you can get the Ram 25 and 3500 diesels at up to $14,000 off. If you need something a little more extra heavy duty, the 25 and 3500 lineup is there for you. But the number one CDJR dealership is right here in Prattville, and they offer the Freedom of Choice pricing program where only number one Stivers offers below employee pricing. So take advantage of it here in Prattville on Cobbs Ford Road.
That's where John is at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. I am in Harrisonburg, Virginia. A little bit later on, the mayor of the city of Montgomery. A little drop in, update us. Stephen Reed will join us on the program. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to Banking Above and Beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust.
Okay, about 21 minutes past the hour here on a Friday. Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy, in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News. You can watch the show each and every day at yellowhammernews.com. It's also on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube, X, Instagram, Spotify. So many ways to check out Longshore McKnight. We really appreciate our association with Yellowhammer News. Also a write-up each and every afternoon about what the show was about and all our special guests. Barry mentioned the mayor of Montgomery going to join us at the top of the next hour. Also, Will Fisher, the director of golf at Capitol Hill, which is about a driver 4-iron from where I'm sitting right now. He'll join us, give us his thoughts about what happened at Augusta yesterday and maybe what to look forward to this weekend.
Yeah, what do you look forward to this weekend in the world of sports? The Masters, sure. And they are... getting underway right now at Augusta National. Maybe a little baseball. Good news, bad news.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's get a little baseball update. What we got?
The Atlanta Braves winners yesterday. That's the good news. Braves win 4-2.
Beautiful.
Here's a little bit of bad news. This is why I had to break the news to John that the Braves won. It went 11 innings. John's out. 11 innings? No.
Ooh, yeah, done. Yeah.
11 innings with a 2-hour and 45-minute rain delay. John mentioned rain in Atlanta.
Yeah, bad rain. You know, Barry,
I don't know.
At the radar.
I don't know what time that game ended, but Marcell Ozuna hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 11th inning. Spencer Schwellenbach got the win. But it had to have been late. 11 innings at Truist Park and a 2-hour and 45-minute rain delay. There ain't no way John would ever make it through that.
Yeah, well,
ever.
there again, I can't find the Braves on my YouTube TV, so I don't get to watch them. So I just got to take your word for it, or I'll check the scores from time to time. Did the Braves actually win the series against Philadelphia?
Are they still playing? Are they done? Let me see. Series may still be going on. Let's see.
You know where they're going, Barry? They're about to head to Tampa to take on the Rays.
Yep, at the Yankees ballpark. Yeah, they begin a series against the Rays this afternoon or this evening at 6:00. I believe they did. I know they won 2. I know they won 2, and I think they played 3. So there you go. Yeah.
So Barry,
the Braves now 3-9, baby. 3-9. I think that was Chiswick's year that got him fired.
That was 3-8. That was before the 12 games, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
No. That was 3-9.
3-9. Okay.
Yeah.
I get that confused. I get that confused with 5-19.
19. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what that guy chanted at the Auburn Opelika Airport when Jay Jacobs came back with Gene Chiswick.
Check the calendar, Barry. May the 19th, not too far away. Gene Chiswick Day.
About 5 weeks away.
You know, you mentioned the rain delay, and I mentioned, they had some diversions into MGM last night. I was curious about it. So I looked on the radar, and there was this big red glob, right over Atlanta. There weren't a lot of storms. It wasn't this big front coming through. There wasn't a line from, Harrisonburg, Virginia, all the way down to New Orleans or something like that. It was just this kind of this blob right over Atlanta, but it was a red blob indicating really strong thunderstorms, and it sat there all night. I mean, for like hours. So, yeah, I can see where the Braves had a delay and these planes got diverted. It was funny because a couple of them, and I won't get off on a tangent, but a couple of these flights that ended up in Montgomery last night were international flights. And I've seen this happen before when I worked out at MGM several summers when I was in college, when the mainland line Delta was still coming into Montgomery. That would happen from time to time. I'll never forget an L-1011 landed. It was coming in from Frankfurt. Those planes just have to sit there. Those passengers cannot get off the plane because there's no immigration and customs in Montgomery.
Right.
So it doesn't matter how long that plane's got to sit there, that weather's got to clear up. You're sitting on the tarmac so that plane can take off again. And there were several planes last night that were coming in from international destinations. And I thought, ooh, those folks aren't happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you can't just let anybody in, roaming around the country, right? You can't just have undocumented people just poking around Montgomery or anything. That's for sure.
Ooh, yeah, no kidding.
Well,
so yep. So the Braves win. Glad to hear that.
We're getting to the end of the regular season in the NBA, 82 games. NBA regular season comes to a close on Sunday. Yep. All 30 teams play tonight and Saturday. Everybody in the league, I don't know why, has Saturday off. Everybody's off on Saturday, and then the regular season comes to a close on Sunday. Logjam there. It's gonna get good for the Phantom over the next little while. Playoff NBA basketball, the Phantom. Forget about it. The Phantom's daily dog. He is going to be feasting on that, like you see those orcas and some of the nature films when they get amongst a bunch of sardines. That'll be the Phantom when it gets to playoff.
Barry, and to say, we've done pretty well. I will say that we've done pretty well in the regular season of the NBA. More on that later today.
Not too far from now.
Not too far from now, but yeah, the regular season does end on Sunday, and then we'll get into the NBA playoffs, which some people have tried to lead me to believe that they don't turn it up and try harder in the playoffs. I don't necessarily believe that. I think they do turn it up a little bit higher in the playoffs.
I just think they don't play as hard in the regular season. They play in the playoffs like they ought to play every game. If people are paying for it and they're getting paid millions of dollars, playoff is when they actually play like they should be playing.
I mean, it's like they've got a knob they can turn it up a little bit more.
Yeah,
that's kind of the way I see it, because they do kind of raise the level just a little bit. But looking forward to it. I enjoy watching the NBA, particularly when it's in the playoffs. I know a lot of our viewers and listeners are not big NBA fans, but I do think the playoffs, you can kind of see it. Yep, they have ramped it up just a little bit on that. Our River Region Straw chat line, sponsored by our good friends at River Region Straw. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959. A lot of good chats there today, Barry. And, of course, John from Wetumpka, knowing that the Braves got a win last night. I do think that they did win the series. I know they won one other game against Philadelphia.
Yeah, I know they won two. I'll look it up.
Series.
Yeah.
I think it was a 3-game series. So good for them. Maybe they've turned the corner. Maybe I should not get so much joy out of a Braves loss.
This is when the comedians would look and say, "Nah, maybe I'm too hard on the Braves. Maybe I need to give them some credit. Maybe I need to show them some love."
Yeah.
No. What am I thinking? All of your fans are saying, "No, John, no. Come on." Keep giving it to him. Yeah, the Braves play the Tampa Bay Rays tonight. Bryce Elder will go. Lots of good baseball over the weekend as well. How many of you out there are going to be going to any one of the 3 big spring games tomorrow? Auburn A-Day. For Auburn, they call it the A-Day weekend. Yeah. It's a weekend. It's not just, an hour on Saturday afternoon. Troy has got a T-Day that has got a ton of different stuff. The Lunch with Legends at 11, the games at 2, free of charge for Coach Jared Parker. And he told us himself on the program, it's going to be for the fans. It's not really going to be about football.
Mhm.
They'll have the athletics yard sale and the youth clinic and all that kind of stuff going on. And at Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, it'll be the same thing. They'll have what do they call it with the fingers in the cement? The Walk of
the
Champions.
captains. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that kind of a deal. What will it be when you see Malachi Moore and Tyler Booker or whoever and Jalen Milroe out there? Please treat Jalen nice. I know you will. There won't be any booing or anything like that because he's a great kid, and he played hard for Alabama. He won the Campbell Award as a nation's top football student athlete as well. At Auburn, you got this going for you from Philip Marshall in what is it? Coffee with Philip at auburnundercover.com.
Yep.
Listen to this nugget.
Okay.
Amongst all the little nuggets he has, Auburn QBs are impressive. Auburn quarterbacks Jackson Arnold and Deuce Knight are impressive, well-spoken young men. They are also blessed with elite talents that most of us can only dream of. One of them, very likely Arnold, will be Auburn's next starting quarterback. Nobody knows for sure until they play, but it seems Auburn's quarterback position is in good hands. It's over.
I think
It's
I've
over.
heard that.
The
Yeah,
spring
it is
practice
over.
and fall is over with. John, from now until then, Philip Marshall has eased the Auburn fans' mind that their quarterbacks are nice kids. They're nice guys.
And that's good to know. And I think I've read that before about a lot of other former Auburn athletes. They're just a lot of nice kids that go to Auburn. I don't know if any other school has more nice kids
Family.
than Auburn. Family, yeah. I mean, it's just impressive the way that they recruit nice kids. Now, there's been a few bad apples. I mean, I don't want to go through them all. I mean, over the years, we've mentioned some that have kind of strayed a little bit. That happens.
Over.
That happens.
Boys will be boys. But
yeah, they will. Barry, it leads me to believe, do other schools in the SEC have nice people? Does Georgia have quarterbacks that are nice? Tennessee, LSU. I mean, maybe is Ty Simpson nice? Keelan Russell nice?
The only misreading of the room from Philip is that he thinks that Auburn fans care. Look, one of the truest things I've ever heard was from John Longshore. Maybe it was the first show we ever did together, but it certainly was early. And so John has said to have a championship team, you need to have a few renegades out there.
You can't have a bunch of choir boys.
If your team is 2-10 and you're telling all your buddies, well, at least we got a bunch of nice kids, you're going to get laughed at. They're going to tell you to shut up.
Yeah.
Does anybody really worry about really worry about whether or not Jackson Arnold, how much he puts into the collection plate on Sunday?
Yeah.
Or whether he helps, little old ladies across Toomer's Corner, when the light is against him or something like that?
Here's what I want to know. Here's what I want to know, Barry. How does Philip know that these two quarterbacks are elite talents? Has he seen them in a game situation at Auburn? Has he seen them against this Auburn defense? I mean, Jackson Arnold got put on the bench last year. Is he elite because he beat Alabama last year? Okay, they're well spoken. What does that say? What does well spoken translate into?
Chris Rock had a big thing about that. He was talking about Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Colin Powell. Colin Powell, he's well spoken. Well, what the heck is that supposed to do with anything?
Yeah, I mean, how does he know they're elite talents? Is he getting to see parts of practice that nobody else gets to see?
Well, maybe they are. Maybe they are.
Maybe
But,
maybe he's
I
just
know
taking
of
a guess.
somebody at quarterback. He was dynamic during practice. Never really got much of a chance during games. You know what? I don't know. Let's go to break. We've still got a lot to do. Bob from
Yeah.
Pike Road has checked in, says, hey, what about that amateur that took a leak into Ray's Creek? Talked about it pretty good bit in the first segment out there.
Yeah, and I've got some more comments about that, Bob. I'm going to address that again when we get back. I'm just trying to consume. I was actually reading Philip's other article, Barry. I just overlooked the Coffee with Philip column, but this just, yeah. Okay.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Hey,
John
Barry,
is.
I'm at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, the #1 CDJR dealership in the state of Alabama, where you can enjoy freedom of choice pricing program. Only #1 Stivers offers below employee pricing. Here's an example. A Ram 1500 Laramie package. You can get one for up to 17 grand off plus 3.9% for 72 months. Need something a little bit more heavy duty? The Ram 25 and 3500 editions are up to 14 grand off. How about the Jeep Compass starting at just $29,999? That's over $7,300 off. Jeep Wrangler Sierras up to $14,000 off. And the Jeep Grand Cherokee you can get for up to $17,000 off or 0% for 72 months. Just a few of the many great deals going on here at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where you can enjoy below employee pricing. Only at Stivers. Alabama's #1 CDJR dealership is Stivers here in Prattville.
In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air rallies for you. No matter the problem, Dixie will tackle it. Their licensed and trusted electricians, plumbers, air and garage door technicians are ready to win for you. From toilets to garbage disposals, circuit breakers to HVAC systems, Dixie never fumbles. Don't throw away your hard-earned money on second-string contracting companies. Score big with Dixie. After all, they are your biggest fan. Visit calldixie.com or dial them up locally at 262-2946.
Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us here today. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bob from Pike Road coming in just a tad late here on a subject that we had mentioned, but we'll mention again. Barry, you told us about a player at Augusta yesterday in the Masters that just couldn't hold it any longer, and he relieved himself into Ray's Creek. Bob wants to know if this guy's going to get invited back. Barry, I got to think that Augusta's hoping and praying he doesn't win the tournament. Now, they let Angel Cabrera come back after he spent 2 years in jail. Would they let a guy come back who relieved himself into Rays Creek? If he won the tournament, they probably would. If he doesn't win it, he might not get invited back.
Yeah, it's probably a greater infraction in their eyes to be into Rays Creek than it is to spend 2 years in an Argentinian jail. Yeah, but we talked about it. He said he'd do it again. That's what, don't say that. Don't do that. And, over there shaking his head over on the other screen over there is a guy who's had to be called into the principal's office every once in a while. You don't ever tell the principal, I'll do it again if I have to. I am so sorry, sir. You go Eddie Haskell on him. That's a very nice tie. Is that a clip-on? That type of thing. His name is Jose Luis Ballester. He's a Spanish amateur. He won the U.S. Amateur. That's why he's there. It's his first Masters, 4 over in his opening round. All right. Here's where I don't understand it. 13th hole. Didn't remember, he said, that there are some restrooms to the left of the tee box. Forgot about those. And then I'm like, I really need to pee. I didn't really know where to go since JT had an issue on the green. I'm like, I'm just going to sneak here in the river and probably would not see me that much. And then they clapped for me. He said they didn't clap for me very much during the round, but they clapped really loud then. So I could look, Jose Luis, man, you're playing in the same foursome with Scheffler, and you don't think anybody's paying attention to your group? Come on, man.
At least he didn't stand on the arc of the Hogan Bridge and pee into Rays Creek right there by number 12. That would have really caused quite the controversy. But if he's saying that he relieved himself in Rays Creek on 13, Rays Creek doesn't really come into play until you're probably 150 yards off the tee box, and it kind of comes and hugs the left side of that hole, the left side of the fairway, if you will, where the woods are. So you could still see somebody doing that from where the gallery is positioned on the other side of the fairway. I'm trying to get a feel for where he actually was to be able to do it into Rays Creek if he was on 13.
With his
now, if he's up there by the tee box, he could get up into the woods and nobody would see him, which is normally what I do. But Barry, sometimes if I've been on a golf course and it's not very heavily wooded, you got to make do with what you got.
Sometimes you really don't have much of a choice.
No.
How many of you, and again, don't be all judgmental to everybody, like, oh, I can't believe he did that. Bob, you've peed in the woods before yourself. Come on, give me a break. But, when you're thinking, whenever all of a sudden, guys have been in this situation, okay, here we go. Yeah, I don't really want to be here, but circumstances dictate. I'm got to go for it here. I'm sorry, I got to go for it. Whether you're on a pontoon boat.
Oh, yeah.
Whether you're, I don't know.
Here's a couple
nobody knows about what happened with Pat Dye. Whether you're,
here's
whether
a couple
whether you're at
Jordan
Hare Stadium and you're thinking, man, I got to go in there. I don't want to go in there. Flip-flop guys there. It's trough.
Oh, Barry, here's 2 examples. I could probably come up with more that people don't think much about. And I've admitted it. Yeah, if I've done it on a golf course many a time, you better believe it. Heck, if I'm sitting out on my veranda watching a football game, instead of walking inside, I'll just go in the backyard. It's a lot easier. It's more convenient. And hey, my flowers look great in my backyard, I have to admit.
Yeah.
Great.
What?
Oh, all the time.
Man, I could just see that guy from Mosquito Authority saying, sorry, Mr. L. Yeah,
I usually wait till it's dark. I do it at night. I don't do it during the day. But here's another one. If you're snow skiing and you're up on the mountain and you're kind of a long way from the midway point or the base of the mountain, you just kind of ski off into the woods a little bit. I've done that many a time. That's a little bit more difficult because you got a lot of layers on. You're unzipping a lot of stuff. But when you got to go, you got to go. But here's one that might hit home a little bit closer. You're going to a football game. You're in Auburn. You're in Tuscaloosa. 100,000 people are there. You know how difficult it is to find a restroom. They don't want you just coming into their restaurant or bar and use their facilities. You got to either wait till you get to the stadium or you're out of luck. So if you've done it in between parked cars or snuck around the back of some building or some business, you know you have. You know, people out there watching and listening, yeah, I've done that before. I mean, you kind of get in a tough spot. You know, you got to go. So you just, wedge yourself in between two parked cars and kind of lean up against them like, hey, how you doing? But, you got to go.
I don't ever want to see this story, quite frankly, crop up at an LPGA event. And that's what I'm worried about. Reason number 10,591 why I am so glad I was not born a female. How many, because women, number one, obviously the plumbing's a little different.
Yeah.
Viva la différence. But number two, it is psychologically much more anxiety provoking for a female to be in that situation than for a male.
True,
I mean,
you've been
at it. You've been at a tavern or a sports bar or something. I don't know why this is. Maybe not a sports bar, but you have to go to the restroom. You excuse yourself. You're a guy. You go to the restroom. You turn around. You come back.
Sure. Yeah. No
Women,
doubt.
there is that permanent line, no matter where you are, no matter what, especially at a bar, especially late at night. And, you got some girls, they'll take the little, quick steps over to the men's room and say, can I go in real quick? Yeah, sure. I'm so sorry to have to ask you. Hey, no. Women have it tough now.
They do have it tough. A couple of examples I have seen. The example about in between two closely parked cars. I've seen a woman at Talladega.
Well, Talladega, the rules of civilization don't count at Talladega.
I've seen that. And when you go into men's room, I've seen it at Bryant-Denny and I've seen it in Baton Rouge. You walk into the men's room, obviously 99% of the guys going in there are going to urinate, if you will.
Number one, yes.
Yeah, but they always, I guess, it's some federal law, you got to have a couple of stalls in there. If you see a guy in a stall, he's going to catch it pretty bad. I have seen women at Bryant-Denny and in Baton Rouge, go figure.
Well, again, the rules of civilization don't count in Baton Rouge either.
And it's kind of like they can't wait anymore. They're not waiting in that line, and they just walk into the men's room and head straight to that stall and don't think another thing about it. Seen it happen with my own two eyes.
I never have seen that take place. Now, JD points out on a River Region Straw chat line, my granddad taught me to go to the passenger side door and act like you were looking for something when peeing on the side of the highway. Hey, where is that? Where are my keys? You're 11. What are you looking for keys for? No, again, it don't matter to me, but I'm driving down the road, and I've had to do that too. I'm driving down the road. There isn't anybody who's driving down the road and sees you pulling that stunt, JD, that doesn't know what you're doing. You're not fooling anybody, right?
I just think, Barry, it makes the P-or is it the P-E, more comfortable.
The P-er.
The P-er, if he's kind of leaning up against the car or acting like he's talking to somebody or looking for keys. If you're just standing there and just, well, so what? It's a, I just don't, I think it makes them feel a little bit more comfortable.
Well, yeah. It's like, when you're in the line at a traffic light and you see the guy in front of you, maybe he's a buddy of yours, maybe you just know who he is, and you see him leaning that way in the car, you know what he's doing, you know what's going on.
Sure. I mean, wasn't there like some elected official, the lieutenant governor, that was doing it into a milk jug at the State House in Montgomery years ago? They were in like some deliberate, they were filibustering and it was going on all night. The guy didn't want to leave because he thought they'd do something while in his absence. So he just was peeing in a milk jug. I think it was a former lieutenant governor of Alabama.
I know of several broadcasters who have had to broadcast games solo that
oh, wow.
It's a mason jar.
Oh.
And it's not one of those little Cracker Barrel Mason jars.
Yeah, I have a hard enough time when you go for a physical and the nurse goes, "Okay, here's the cup. Go pee in it a little bit." I'm going, "What?"
Yeah. You got to get your mind right about
Yeah,
stuff
how do you
like
cut?
that.
How do you cut it off? I mean,
Guys can't
wow.
cut it off. Yeah, yeah.
Oh boy. So
Yeah.
Bob, I hope that answers your question. I guess
Probably more so.
they are going to
Well, Jay,
going to probably say something to this young man, but there again, if he has that attitude, Barry, he might not get invited back.
what is everybody in golf lore? Well, first of all, JD, who says, I saw a woman pee in the trough at the supper club once. You think that's a humble brag, JD? You think that didn't happen every night at the supper club multiple times? Come on. But with
you know, that's just a good point. Bill from Baltimore. You know, Gary McCord got banned for calling the greens, said they had bikini wax on them.
Yeah,
That got
and
him run.
He called the gallery. He called the patrons. He called them a mob. Now, I don't think that he got banned from Augusta National. I just think he couldn't be on CBS anymore. I think that was the deal with him. But
golly, peeing in Ray's Creek, though, I don't know, man.
That's not that. Yeah. You don't do that. And you say, I'd do it again if I have to.
Ooh.
That man looks like he is, I don't know, shot a 4 over on the opening round.
Yeah,
He doesn't care about the future in there. So
he was no Nick Dunlop. I mean, hey, wow.
Yeah. So
somebody texted me yesterday about Nick Dunlop shooting. Was it 18 over?
90. He's 11 shots out of next to last.
I beat that guy by 8 shots. When I played Augusta, my first loop around that track, shot 82, 10 over par.
Now that's a brag right there. Seeing a lady pee in the trough at supper club, that ain't no big deal.
Yeah. Now, of course, I did play from the members tees. Right. I didn't play from the tournament tee, so I will admit that. And they have lengthened it, tiger-proofed it, if you will, since I played. But, looped it at 82, went back and looped it at 80 the next round. So, yeah, I mean, that's back when I could play, too. I don't think I could do it today, but I thought that. I went, man, beat that guy by 8 shots.
And when he had to relieve himself, he calmly found one of the luxuriously appointed on-course restrooms and did the deed.
They call them comfort stations.
Wait a minute. You can't bring your phone. You can't call it. You have to call the fans' patrons. You can't call them a mob. You have to call them a gallery. And nobody pees at Augusta National. They just visit the comfort station.
The comfort station. Yes. And they have attendants in the comfort stations at Augusta.
No, not the ones with the little mints and the towel over your shoulder, right?
No, they're just kind of directing traffic. Okay, over there.
I was about to say.
Yeah, there you go, over there. They might have a towel for you.
I would like to go to Augusta National, but I don't want to spend the whole time in the bathroom.
Oh, that's why they've got these attendants. They're getting you in and out quick. There's no dilly-dallying. You're not going in there with a newspaper. It's quick. You got to take care of business.
Well, in that case, they need to limit you to 1 pimento cheese sandwich.
And I cannot believe you did not like that clip I sent you about the guys rating the food at Augusta. And one of them, of course, was a pimento cheese. I got the throw up emoji sent back to me.
That was nasty. I mean, pimento cheese, first man to ever eat pimento cheese was a hungry man. That's all.
Have you ever put it on a hamburger?
I've never put it on anything. I've never. There ain't no way. Well, this will forever be known as our P segment.
Yes, it will.
We'll take a break from it. We have closed it out, so to speak, which guys have a hard time doing. Women evidently do not.
The mayor's going to join us in about 6 minutes. The mayor of Montgomery, Stephen Reed, and Will Fisher from RTJ in about 35 minutes.
Yep, the Honorable Stephen Reed. So we need a good, about a 5-minute buffer between us talking about urinating and visiting with the mayor, and that's coming up now. John is at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. I am in Harrisonburg, Virginia, in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Here we are at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Our friend, everybody's friend, Mary Ann is with us. Mary Ann, April is a special month, even more special at Marguerite's.
Definitely. Okay, so it's the first of the month, Barry. What's that birthstone?
It's a diamond, right?
Yes. Winner. It's easy to remember because with April comes baseball season, baseball diamond. We've got Diamond
Nice.
Month here at Marguerite's, and it is a great time. We are having Diamond Month to really emphasize all the great diamonds we have in stock. We're doing crazy specials on natural as well as lab created diamonds with solitaire specials starting out at, this is crazy to believe, $500 for a lab created diamond solitaire. That's insane. Like a 1 carat inner ring. We have diamond studs, diamond tennis necklaces, tennis bracelets. Everything with our diamonds are going to be unmatched, unparalleled prices. And loose stones, again, maybe because it is baseball season and you're watching all of those games that you need to give a little extra something, or that girlfriend that you've been dating for a while needs to get an engagement ring. Well, now is definitely the time to do it because our loose diamonds are on special.
Yeah, if you are thinking about an engagement, here's a pro tip. That may be Marianne's favorite thing to do at Marguerite's, is to help the guys make sure their odds are good with a beautiful diamond for that loved one that they're going to pop the question to, right?
Most definitely. It's great to help. We love helping you. The hardest thing you have to do is walk through the door. Next thing, honestly, you just say, I need to get engaged. Or between the two of us or the rest of these listeners, I can tell when a guy walks through. They kind of just have that look and they're just walking slow and looking around. And I'm like, need an engagement ring? And they just shake their head. I take it from there. Just get some ideas. White gold, yellow gold, diamonds. We have them. Guys, it's not hard. Honestly, just walk through the door. We can help you.
Yeah, it's not intimidating at all. They have people who would love to help, especially in Diamond Month in April in Marguerite. Yes. Marianne, as always, it's so great to talk with you. What are the hours of operation?
Sure. We're open 7 days a week in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center, 10 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Pepper Tree Center, next to Chappie's Deli, 8163 Vaughn Road in Montgomery. Thanks very much, Marianne. Great to see you.
Great to see you, too.
Okay, back at it here on this Friday. I'm live at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville, Alabama's #1 CDJR dealership in the state, where freedom of choice pricing is going on right now at only #1 Stivers, offering below employee pricing. Going to tell you more about it throughout the morning here, throughout the day. I know Gurn Jr. is working feverishly back at Network Control. The mayor of Montgomery, Stephen Reed's going to join us here in just a moment. I don't know if he can pull this up off of yellowhammernews.com in the sports section.
All right.
But there's a picture, Barry, of Kayla DeBoer, Greg Burns, Stuart Bell, the president of Alabama. They met with Senator Tuberville earlier this week in his office.
I saw the
DC.
picture. Yes.
And I thought it was interesting. The picture is of all of them. Some student athletes made the trip as well. And then behind them, there's this montage of great Auburn football moments, I guess, when Tuberville was the coach there.
That was the same picture you and Junior stood in front of. I got the picture of that.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's the same picture. That's the couch we were sitting on. Coach and Tuberville told me about the color of the walls. They are blue.
Right.
He mentioned that Senator Shelby, who was still in office when Tuberville first was elected, his walls were red. So Tuberville wanted his to be blue. So they painted them blue for him. It's not my favorite shade of blue, I will admit. But I thought, wow, during spring practice, the head coach, the AD, the president, going up to talk to the senator. And Barry, I understand certainly it had to do with what's coming up with the House versus the NCAA and NIL and the future of college athletics. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to hear what that conversation was about.
Yep. I wonder who the student athletes are, because Greg Byrne is 6'6", and the young man next to him is taller than him. And then evidently must be a gymnast over there. I don't know. There's one girl over there. She must be about 4'10" or something like that. I didn't realize this. in the piece, very well done by Michael Bronner, YellowhammerNews.com. U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville, Republican Auburn, tortured the Alabama Crimson Tide when he was the head coach of Auburn, defeating the Tide in the Iron Bowl 5 years in a row in what was known in Tuscaloosa as, quote, Tuberville's reign of terror, end quote.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they called him that.
Yeah.
I never heard of Tuberville's reign of terror before. Can I use that?
Tuberville's reign of terror. I think, was it Rusty that labeled it Saban Bryant Denny Stadium or something like that?
Tuberville Field or something.
Tuberville Field or something like that. Yeah, Tuberville Field. Of course, Tuberville's last game was the Bryant Denny beatdown when a freshman, Greg McElroy, just happened to throw a touchdown. And oh, by the way, as time expired,
on a pick play to Roy Upchurch.
No. That was
another one. That was a different one. Yeah, that was a different one. Yeah, he went deep on that one.
In Auburn. But, I remember the big talk was the thumb game because Tuberville had walked across the field with 4 fingers raised, and I think they were going for the thumb game the next year or something like that. But
he did say he enjoyed pointing out to the Alabama contingent the portrait that you're talking about that celebrated several of his high points as the Auburn coach. I imagine that he did direct their attention to that.
Yeah, he's actually got another one. He has 2 prints.
Can't say I'm shocked.
In his office. Yeah, but I would have been interested to hear what they were talking about. There again, this NIL House versus the NCAA thing. It is a big topic, and I think it's going to be very interesting, Barry, when this kind of plays out over the next several weeks, months. How it's going to work. Is this the solution? I don't think totally it is, but I do think that it's maybe a step in the right direction.
Well, I'd be, and again, I don't know who the 2 student athletes were, a male student athlete, female student athlete, who were there as well. But I'd be interested to know what their thoughts are. I'm around them all the time. I'm with a group of 35 baseball players and have been for a week and a half now on the road. And, talked about NIL a little bit. Some of the baseball players are on commercials and do, social media, things like that. I wonder what they think about the possibility of guardrails upon this. I have talked with 1 or 2 from the basketball program before, and they realize that there's got to be some rules, which there aren't right now. There's got to be some limits, which there aren't right now, because they kind of realize that this can't keep going on forever. This is, if you want, if you're a 5th or a 6th-year senior, it probably doesn't matter much to you, but for the young kids, for the student athletes coming up, for the health of the sports, you've got to start having some, maybe not limitations, but just some guardrails on this, because it can't keep going on the way it's been going on. So I'd be interested in what their perspective was with Senator Tuberville about, or maybe the way things ought to be.
Yeah, Barry, I think that's a good word to use to describe it. The health of the sport, or the health of sports in general.
Yeah.
I don't think it's healthy. And I think a lot of these coaches and athletic directors and presidents know it's not healthy. And we're just kind of biding our time right now and everything's okay. We hadn't really hit that big wall yet or something, really
but it's there.
Catastrophic. But something is going to happen that's going to change. And maybe it's just kind of brewing as we go. But there are the haves and there are the have-nots. And it's looking like there's some haves that are even in a better position than some of the what has been perceived as teams that are flush with cash.
Right.
You've heard that from Greg Byrne. Yeah, Auburn and Alabama are going to be okay, but are they going to be at the level of some of these other schools that have more advantages financially? Probably not. And are fan bases ready for that? Are they going to be able to understand that and accept it? I don't think they are, unless we have some type of guardrails, some type of formula that's as equal as possible to every school out there.
And I do think the student athletes, the ones who are realistic understand that. They realize that. And whenever those rules or whenever those limitations do come out, I do think it would be smart for athletics directors to actually take the input of the student athletes. And hey, do you think that this will go over? Will we be able to recruit student athletes as talented as you if we do this, that type of a thing? It's a very interesting time coming up. And John, unless I miss my guess, that House settlement should come. I mean, they've got some questions right now involving, walk-ons and roster limitations. It's not necessarily about the money that the judge is wanting them to return and talk about. That it should come out one way or the other next week. This time next week, we ought to have something we can sink our teeth into and react to and kind of forecast what it looks like. But it is coming. I do believe it does need to come. It's not that some schools couldn't. I mean, it's not like college athletics is going to die if we don't do it. It's just going to change. It's going to continue to change in a negative way. And it's just really, really inefficient is probably the biggest thing. The efficiency of it all, where every year you get to go wherever you want to. You never get a chance to grow the sport because your fans can never really get invested in a player for more than a year, a good player. So it's just the inefficiency of it all that needs to change.
They had the commissioner of the SEC, the Big Four.
Right.
We're on Fox News yesterday, and they were talking about the House versus the NCAA, the changes in college athletics.
Right.
And I know it wasn't Sankey. I can't remember what commissioner it was. And it wasn't Petiti from the Big Ten. So I guess it was the Big 12, the ACC commissioner, talking about transfers and admitting that this isn't what we had in mind. We didn't have in mind that, these guys were going to be making 4 stops in 4 years. And then Sankey kind of went on with that, talking about, how it hurts them academically, losing credits, not having the right credits, really not taking their academics seriously as they're starting to transfer each and every year.
That was my deal. I had, and I transferred a couple of times. I got, summer school classes at a different place. And I know John did as well. I had a ton of credits. They didn't all, add up to a, seamlessly into a major. I could have, which is why I got, a concentration in this, put a degree in that and all that kind of stuff. I don't think anybody gives two toots about the academic side of it.
I agree.
There's a kid who was a freshman basketball player at Troy. Not going to mention his name. Was a really good high school player, freshman basketball player at Troy. Left the program with about 10 games left in the season. The next year he was in junior college. The year after that he was back in D1 at a MEAC school. And then the year after that he was at a Power 4 school. Then last year he was at a school that made the NCAA tournament. That was a mid-major, and now he's back in. I knew him when he was a freshman at Troy. Next year, he'll be playing for his 6th school, his 5th since leaving school. Can you imagine what the admissions office is trying to sift through when they look at his transcript, for goodness sake?
Now, Barry, I can imagine 6 years in college, but I was at the same school. I couldn't imagine going to 6 different ones.
Well, the amount of patience they had with John at that school is unprecedented. I don't think they've ever been as patient with another non-football player in the history of that institution. Yep.
Hey, the mayor of Montgomery, Stephen Reed, joining us here this morning with Longshore McKnight. Hey, Mayor, good morning. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm late. My apologies. I totally forgot. So forgive me for the dressing for the acoustics, but I'm still in the gym. Totally forgot about this. So that's on me.
Hey, man, when you're getting your pump on, whenever you're setting PRs and stuff, Mayor, I get it that you're not necessarily thinking about us. I understand.
Listen, I wouldn't forget this, especially when the SEC claimed another national championship.
Yeah.
So I definitely wouldn't want to miss that after what happened on Final Four weekend. That's for sure.
Yeah, what a great exposure for the state of Alabama. You know, Troy went to the NCAA. It was a great year, of course, at Auburn and at Alabama. So many good basketball teams. What did you think of the way the Final Four ended up playing out, Mayor? Did it happen kind of like the way it should have or not?
You know what? I was a little bit disappointed in the way Houston literally fumbled the ball and on that last possession there. But I thought that weekend was great. I thought Auburn did a great job as well. You know, kind of like Barkley said, I think the better team that night won. I don't know if you played a 3 or 5 game series if Florida would beat Auburn, but I think that night they played the better ball. And, you know, to see Duke fold, I don't think there was anybody crying any tears for the Duke Blue Devils. The way they gave up the lead in the last 10 minutes, 6 minutes, and hit 30 seconds to look at that. And so, you know, to come down to Florida and Houston, I think on Monday night was a great game. And, you know, probably not the most high scoring, the best shooting, but I thought it was great competition and great willpower shown on both sides.
Mayor, looks like you got your Cowboys colors on today. So as you work out, yeah, I noticed that. Mayor,
crossing my fingers for the draft, John. Crossing
there you
the draft.
Who's it going to be? Who's Jerry going after?
Hey, somebody that we're all left scratching our heads at, you know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. It'll be some offensive guard or somebody that should have been a 3rd-round pick that he sees something in and he takes some top 15. That's how it's been going the last few years.
We love talking sports with you. We know how busy you are. And, you know, I remember at the first of the month watching your press conference, and you spent a good bit of time going over some real numbers of substance in terms of how your administration, how the city of Montgomery is really fighting the good, effective fight against crime within the city limits.
Yeah, you know, we've had a very solid first quarter. You know, overall crime is down about 16%. We're seeing property crime down about 24%, non-fatal shootings right around 21% as well. Unfortunately, when it comes to homicides, we're about even. You know, we'd like to see that number down in that same range. So we've got some work to do. We've done a great job, thanks to the community and thanks to our first responders and everybody in law enforcement catching those folks. Seem to be, you know, a lot of illicit, transactions and things like that are happening. But nonetheless, we want to see that number come down. And I think as we roll out the community violence intervention program, we'll see those numbers start to come down as they really get into the streets and get in the middle of things to de-escalate these situations and to make sure people understand conflict resolution, that an argument doesn't have to end, with a gun. And those things aren't going to be good for, anyone involved. But, on the flip side, we're proud of the work that our police department's been doing. We've got our largest class coming in of recruits. And, we're continuing to get that word out. So thank you to you guys and thanks to everybody in the community for that.
Mayor, one thing that I pick up on is I'm not sure there's any fear in people that are breaking the law, whether it's traffic laws, whether it's smoking weed in public to burglaries and threats. I had a very good friend of mine, and you know who it is because I know you've talked to him a lot, that had just a very terrifying, scary incident happen at his place of business. And the people that attacked him seemed to have no fear. How do we get over the criminals where they are fearful of committing a crime? How do we put that back into our community?
Well, I think there are a couple of things, and y'all don't know if you're part of if you were doing a little ear hustling last night downtown, but a good friend of mine brought up that same topic about 7:00 last night. And, he talked about, kind of having to show some people a little force. And I'm probably putting it nicely for radio and internet what he said. And I think he's right about that. And, one of the things we want to do is be responsible. But at the same time, we want to show toughness. We want to show a level of aggression and proactiveness. And I think that's what we have to do on our side. And that's something that Chief Grayboys and I have discussed. And I know that he's discussed with some of our other law enforcement partners, with Sheriff Cunningham and Hal Taylor and Aaliyah and others. So I think that's kind of in the air with a lot of us, that you may have to get back to showing some things. We've done some of that, John. We haven't share the footage of it. But in this day and age, you may have to show people what's possible on the front end. Now, on the back end, I do want to say that even though the trials are taking a little bit of time, I just read where new district attorney Oliver and asked for a life sentence for a repeat offender, violent offender at that, and that was granted along with, I think, 2 additional 25-year terms by the judge. So I think we also have to make sure that people understand when they do commit a heinous crime, even if it's a robbery, if no death is involved, that you're going to get, maximum sentences. And in particular, if you're a repeat offender. The last thing that I brought up with the state legislator was how do we change these bail and bonds laws in terms of who can get out and how they get out, by putting 10% down or doing these installment plans. That's something that we should totally eliminate. That's something, if you're a violent offender, should not be as easily accessible to you. Now I understand, again, somebody who's doing a low-level crime. Okay, I'm all right with that. They're first-time offenders, a non-violent offense. But you got some violent offenders who are getting out, and paying bond installments, getting out on bond and paying bail installments, which is like nothing. So I think those are things that we have to address as well legislatively. And I've gotten some support in bringing that up too. So I think all of those are a mix of how we start sending the message that we're going to be tough on crime and we're going to be proactive on those people who are involved in criminal activity.
Mayor Stephen Reed, Mayor of the City of Montgomery. I know you took a lot of pride in some of the ribbon cuttings around the community centers. I know Chisholm, and you mentioned this, and I firmly believe this. I mean, it's not ribbon cuttings. It's not just the building that you're celebrating. There's so many different things within the community that are so important, and I think underrated by the general public that are offered in these community centers that are reopening.
Yeah, listen, these community centers are a place of meetings, a place of, resources and activity for a lot of people around the city. And for us to be able to put back tens of millions of dollars in these facilities is, long overdue. So we're proud about the new technology we have in there, the new gaming systems, the new computers, certainly the new environment that it brings, and the attitude. It's amazing, just the that staff that's working there, what it means to them to walk into a nice new facility that's state of the art and that's best in class. And we want the community to enjoy that. And we understand, John, your son probably doesn't play the same games that you did, nor does mine. They kind of look at me and ask me, what's that?
Yeah.
So, we know we have to adapt those community centers for young people to, really want to come there. But we also want the community to take pride in them. We want the community to understand it's their community. They're going to have to keep it up. They're going to have to make sure there's some self-belief going on with behavior and things that won't be tolerated. And then we can bring in more resources and programming, financial literacy, whether it's health and wellness, whether it's many other things that we want people to know that, they may not get from a YMCA because they may not be a member, or they may not get from another organization that they're a part of, but that they still have access to more opportunities. So Barry, you're right. We're really, really excited about it. We've got a couple of more community centers we're going to be cutting the ribbons on. And more importantly, we're excited about the thematics of a lot of these community centers because they're going to change. They're not all going to be the same.
Right.
Some will have sound and music production. Some will have gaming. Some will be more IT related. Others will be more health and wellness related. So we're going to have some things and some great programming. And our Parks and Recreation Department, led by Brandon Dean, those guys are really exciting. The ladies over there have been doing a real, real good job. So thanks to our city council and everybody who's been a big part of that.
Mayor, I think when you go around in the city and talk to people here, you get a lot of suggestions, you get a lot of input. I would think the number one thing on your list to get done for Montgomery is, crime and getting a handle on that. If I'm wrong, please let me know. What would the number two thing be on the list? What do you want to get done for Montgomery after lowering crime numbers?
Yeah, I think for sure that the public safety piece is always top of mind. And I'm on the National Public Safety Task Force for the National League of Cities, and I talk to mayors literally from all across the country, of all political persuasions, from all size cities. And that's everybody. We're all trying to borrow ideas. we're kind of like coaches, if you will. You go in the off season, and you're kind of swapping ideas of what works, what things you like, and what things you don't like. We're probably a little bit better than coaches, though. We aren't worried about playing against each other.
Yeah.
So we probably share a little bit more than coaches do. But, you know, we try to share a lot of, you know, community policing ideas, how to use technology as a force multiplier. You'll see a lot more cameras, speed cameras, a lot of license plate readers. That's something Chief Gray Boys and I talk about at least bi-weekly about where we are in that process. We've also worked with some private companies to maybe do some pilot projects. Hint, hint, free, Longshore. You like that?
Yeah.
Come do a pilot project with us here, get half of the city, and then we'll come back and talk about starting that contract with you in about 3 years.
I hear you, my man. I hear you.
So we want you'll start seeing a lot more cameras around this city for sure. And then, you know, again, I think just working with the sheriff and Aaliyah and our federal law enforcement agencies gives us the spread that we need around this city to bring people a little sense of better safety. We still got to reduce those gunshots and the people who are carrying firearms for sure. But when you get past that, John, you know, the big thing for us is education. I mean, public education feeds into our job growth. It feeds into our growth as a city and as a region. Feeds into our stability with Maxwell Air Force Base, our capability of drawing in more industrial and white-collar jobs. So although the mayor doesn't oversee the school board and the school system, we get all the questions. We get all the responsibility, and unfortunately, you know, we have to answer for the school board in a lot of areas where this is concerned. So that's probably number two, and here's why, you know, I've taken the position I took on the hiring of the new superintendent. Just problematic with the search, and when it's something that everybody depends on, whether you have kids in the public schools or not, it's something that we all should be confident in. And this wasn't a search that I could be, and I think other leaders could be confident in as well.
One of my final question here, and we'll let you get back. You know, I thought it was very interesting your insistence on being as transparent as you can with city government. The open data portal is, I think, a really, really good thing all the way around for accountability and just for citizen awareness of exactly what's going on. I thought that was a really, really positive move there, Mayor.
Hey, thanks, Barry. You know, that's something we rolled out really a couple of years ago. We had to come back and redo it because we didn't have the right technology. It wasn't easy for people to use, and you know, it really was something that we did. And we kind of got it out there. We weren't really proud of it. And now people can go to that open data portal on the MontgomeryAL.gov website, and they can see everything, John. They can see everything from crime statistics, what's happened on their street, in their neighborhood. That's going to be there. They can see trash pickup. They can see when streets are going to be paved or closed. They can see what's going on in the parks. They can see our finances. They can take a look at what we're spending money on, their taxpayer dollars. And it's a lot easier to use. And now a lot more graphics and a lot more capability in terms of what you can see and how easy it is to understand. So we want to continue to promote that because it helps our neighborhood associations. It helps our city council people. And, you know, it helps, you know, really the public just understand a little bit more what their government is doing. So when they fire off those emails to us, they have a better sense of what's happening in their neighborhood and certainly in their city. We're going to continue to tweak it and upgrade it because that's what being a smart city is about, is letting people know the good, the bad, and the ugly that's happening, giving people a look under the hood. And I think that's the best way for us to operate.
Mayor, a couple of questions from our viewers today on our chat line. I know we've talked about these topics before. One of our viewers wants to know about the future of Garrett Coliseum and downtown development. I know that's a topic we've touched on with you prior visits.
Yeah, you know, downtown, I focus, and I just was texting with a leading business CEO last night. We're really focused on expanding that convention center and building that arena downtown. We just got to get in the game with the rest of the cities across the state, Birmingham, Mobile, Huntsville. So we're gonna move forward with that. If these financial markets will work with us, we can get that going here sooner rather than later. And that's going to be key to our tourism industry. And people ask me, you know, all the time, well, why does that matter because for us, that feeds our general fund. That's how our city council, allocates dollars to pave streets and to do, upgrades on city facilities and to bring things to their neighborhoods. And as we as a community can keep up with other cities in our state and other cities, across the country. So we're going to focus certainly on the downtown development. We've got our Main Street partnership going very well. Our downtown ambassadors out right now. If you come down there, so we're trying to fill in those storefronts piece by piece, and to make sure that when people visit the city, and listen, we're the second most visited city in the state. So we get the visitors, but what we don't get are people shopping and leaving some sales tax revenue downtown as much as like. So we're going to continue that. As it relates to the Garrett Coliseum, I think it has a place right now for a lot of the events, whether it's the fair, whether it's the SLE rodeo and other events like that. And I think you'll see us kind of continue to make some improvements there. But the bulk of the resources is going to go downtown so that we can capture that market for conventions and sporting events that we know we need to see, as well as top tier concerts.
And you touched on the other one, street paving. I see it around the city. It looks like there's more streets being paved. I know one street in particular that I'd like to see paved, but I'm not going to get on that topic today.
Yeah, that's for another day.
Offline, Longshore. I think I know which one you're talking about.
But I've seen a lot of streets being paved, so I like to see that. That's good stuff.
Hey, we're installing speed bumps. We're paving these streets and curbs. And again, that's not the pretty side of city development, but it's what you got to do to fill those potholes. You got to make sure that trash is picked up. And one of the things we've been talking about with the council is, maybe looking at privatizing some of our city, because the city has grown geographically, right? It's grown east over the decades, but we still have to take care of some of those older cities. So it does slow us down when people are saying, hey, they didn't pick up my limbs, they didn't pick this up. So we're looking at some ways to maybe do some public-private partnerships from our side, and to maybe expedite the way that we can deal with trash, we can deal with garbage, and we can deal with that recycling. So all those are things that, again, don't get the headlines, but they're things that, believe me, we're talking about all the time, and the council makes sure they highlight that both privately and publicly when that time comes. So, we're looking to continue to build the city, John and Barry, and we want to make sure that, we grow the population, we grow this economy, and that means all of us working together. And I think that based on what we have right now, we got some good momentum. And I think the next time we talk, we'll have some real positive announcements that I'd love to be able to share with you today. But I'm getting a hint that I can't quite do it because of the names haven't been signed on the bottom line, as they say. But you'll appreciate it. And if I can, you might be seeing a grander version of it starting somewhere over in Augusta. I think today, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll just
okay. All right, awesome. Right. So we're going to hold you to it. We want you to make those big announcements right here with Longshore McKnight.
Hey, I like that. Let's do it.
Yeah. Hey, if you have any questions about some of the things the governor's been talking about, we always like to direct.
Or the mayor. He's not the governor yet.
Yep. The mayor's talking about Mayor Stephen Reed, City of Montgomery. You can always go to MontgomeryAL.gov. See, it was the .gov that got me when I was reading.
Hey, Barry.
Yeah.
If I was governor, Longshore and I would have a lottery by now.
Boom.
If somebody wants to make me governor for a day, we'd have a little sports betting going on. We'd have a little lottery. We'd have a whole lot more money around here. I think we can make everybody happy, I believe.
Mayor. I wish we had more time to get off on that because, hey, you are preaching to the choir. Woo.
Mayor Stephen Reed, mayor of the city of Montgomery. Again, MontgomeryAL.gov is the website if you want some background on some of the things he's talking about. Always appreciate the time. Good luck to you.
Hey, thanks, guys. Listen, sorry for the view, but we got to get back to this workout. Try to work
understand.
For Easter.
I hear you, my man.
Appreciate
that, Mayor Stephen Reed joining us here this morning on Longshore McKnight. Always appreciate his appearance and getting us updated on what's going on around the capital city and the river region. Need to take a break. When we come back, Barry, it's the Phantom's Daily Dog. Just letting you know.
Sometimes there's a little lilt to his voice that lets you know how he did so far. Also, actually, if we can, we're coming close to a milestone. Geddy Lee, Theotis, and Mortan Joe, if you can just give us, well, now one, just quick chat, just one, you will have set a record. We have never had anybody had 50 chats in one show.
Woo!
My man Theotis is at 49 in the first hour and a half of this program. He has been there we go. No, that was Chris the Bammer, and Chris the Bammer's got about 30 of them himself.
Yes.
It's very busy. We love it.
Theotis obviously really loves the mayor. He's a big fan, so we appreciate it. I'll pass that along, Theotis, as well. Will Fisher from RTJ Capitol Hill also. He'll join us in about 6 or 7 minutes. I am here live at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, the #1 CDJR dealer in Alabama, where you can get the freedom of choice pricing program. Only #1 Stivers offers below employee pricing, like the Jeep Compass starting at just $29,999. That's over $7,300 off sticker. Also, the Jeep Wrangler Sierra up to $14,000 off. The Ram 1500 Laramie up to $17,000 off, plus 3.9% APR. Just a few of the many great deals going on here at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Alabama's #1 CDJR dealership.
In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market offers the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of Mexico with deliveries daily. Snapper, grouper, pompano, flounder, copia, along with medium, large, and jumbo shrimp, hand-picked crab meat, and chucked oysters. They can even cook your order for easy, quick pickup. The Destin Connection can make a po' boy with any of their seafood items that folks in New Orleans rave about. Go by and see them at 3750 Norman Bridge Road or call 288-4272 for pickup orders.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. So glad you are with us here today. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Before we get to Will Fisher, Director of Golf at RTJ Capitol Hill, let's just go over and tell you what the Phantom's Daily Dog did last night.
The fans are demanding it. They want to know, so I feel like you owe it to them. You know, since they're asking, why not just let's go over it.
This was an interesting game, Barry. We had the Timberwolves Grizzly game last night. The game was in Memphis. It was on TNT.
Yes,
the interesting thing about this game, when we talked about it yesterday on the show, the Minnesota Timberwolves were an underdog in this game. When the game tipped, they were a favorite. Now, I don't want to say that the Phantom's choice yesterday around 8:30 made that line start moving from a 1.5-point underdog to a 1.5-point favorite. Maybe it did. Who knows? But we had it didn't matter. We had the Timberwolves no matter what. We had them as a dog. They went off as a favorite. They won the game 141-125. I don't think it really
Yep.
matters.
Thank you. Thank you, Anthony Edwards, 44. Phantom didn't mention this, not because it's either this or that. You know, it doesn't really matter as long as you cover or not. But that really threw the Western race. There are now 6 teams, Timberwolves, Grizzlies, Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, and the Warriors within 2 games of each other now in the standings. And again, people only play today and Sunday, and then the regular season is over. Then you get into that gimmicky playoff play-in system. Yeah, that was a big one. In other words, the Phantom knew they both had a ton to play for yesterday in terms of the playoffs and the seeding and the standings and stuff.
Didn't matter if he was a favorite or an underdog. We had him as a dog. They went off as a favorite, but they covered either way. All right,
yes,
so tonight.
Yes.
Barry, you mentioned it. Only 2 regular season games left in the season. They're not playing on Saturday for some reason.
Nobody.
Nobody. But there's some teams out there, Barry, that aren't going to make the playoffs, and maybe they're just playing for pride a little bit. Maybe they've already packed their suitcases and they've gone home. Who knows?
All right, let me guess.
Hard to handicap.
Right.
But, Barry, we're looking at a game tonight that features a team that is in the play-in NBA playoffs deal, whatever they call that thing.
Right. It's a play-in.
The play-in, this team's in it.
Right.
The other team is not. They've got 2 more games and they're done. But their 2 games that they have left are at home. And they play at home tonight. And they are catching a lot of points. So you got to think there's a little pride in there to at least keep it a little close against a team that's already in postseason. So, Barry, we're going down to the Crescent City and taking the Pelicans at home tonight, catching 13 and a half, taking on the Miami Heat, who's already in the playoffs.
Yeah, Miami, Pelicans, they're bad. They're terrible. Zion shut down, but they'll get under the 13 and a half.
That's all I'm looking for.
There we go.
That's all I'm looking for. You know, we had a huge favorite, similar situation about a week ago. We took a team at home, getting a ton of points. It's packed their bags. They're not making the playoffs. They covered by half, catching 14 and a half. That was the Charlotte Hornets. Maybe the same thing happens tonight with the Pelicans. We like the 13 and a half at home at Smoothie King. There you have it. I see Will Fisher bobbing his head going, I like that. Phantom's on that one.
Will Fisher, Capitol Hill on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail. Not too far away. John, I'm thinking maybe driver 2-iron to get over there. Will Fisher joins us now. I know the water at Capitol Hill is a lot cleaner than the water at Rays Creek right now currently. I can tell you that.
Do you think he gets invited back?
Don't drink the water at Rays Creek.
Yeah, if it's cleaner at Capitol Hill, it's only because it's run through the city system.
Yeah,
there have been plenty of people who have relieved themselves into the Alabama River off of the Judge course. I can promise you. Right.
Yeah. John cannot comment. What's the statute of limitations run out?
So, Will, I understand that you and Mr. Beverly were at Augusta National earlier this week. I understand you spent a lot in the pro shop as well there at Augusta. Give us your thoughts being there and experiencing firsthand earlier this week.
Yeah, it's been great. Actually, I will just correct let me just get this correct. I say Mike all the time, and everybody thinks of Mike Beverly, obviously. Mike is actually going on Saturday with his brother, and so I have a new head golf professional. His name is Mike as well.
Sure.
But long story short, we had a great time. It was my head golf professional, Mike Olson's first time to go. He always loved going with somebody when it's their first time to go.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. The golf course was obviously in immaculate shape. We picked a wonderful day to go. It was Wednesday. Weather was great. Let me tell you, I think I told a couple of my employees, I think I spent $700. 20 of it was on food. The other was on merchandise.
I believe it.
but I feel like I did pretty good. I mean, there was a guy in front of me whose bill was about 1,800. So I feel like I did pretty good.
Well,
I'd say so.
we talk about the traditions of the Masters, and there are plenty of them. Never get too geeked up at whoever wins the par three because they're never going to win the tournament. Never get too geeked up because Justin Rose is usually leading within the first two rounds anyway, and he's never won a green jacket. But pretty solid start for him, right?
Yeah, I was very impressed. The guy that the two guys that really impressed me the most, and I have concerns the same that you have about Justin. Is he going to be able to finish the deal? He always gets off to a good start, so is he going to be able to finish the deal? But Scotty Scheffler really easy round of 4 under, and DeChambeau kind of the same deal. I know DeChambeau had a little stumble on 17 coming in, but for the most part, very clean scorecards. And I think that's what you should be kind of looking at for the first couple of rounds is who can get in and out and not get skint up, have a bogey or a double or something like that. Scotty, to me, when he came off of 9, and I think he was 3 under on 9, he looked to me like he kind of let off the gas a little bit. He was in a perfect position on 10 yesterday, with probably 8 or 9 iron in his hand, and he did not go for the flag. Flag was in the back right of the green. There's a little bit of shelf back there, so if you get it back there, you've got a pretty makeable putt.
Right.
But you watched him play. I mean, even he had a 3-putt on 13, but even the way he played 13, was to me was just like I'm comfortable at 3 under. If I make another birdie, that's fine. If I don't, I want to play a clean round from here in. And that to me is a guy who really understands how to set himself up for Sunday. And so if he can do that today, another clean round on Saturday, if he's not the leader, he'll be within a handful of shots unless somebody goes out and, throws out a 64, 63, something like that.
So a lot of people are talking about Rory McIlroy. They think he's got a shot. He's still lurking back there, but he had 2 bad holes, 15 and 17 yesterday. And I saw some clips, Will, of what happened on 15 when his chip shot rolled into the water. He was behind the green. It rolled into the water in the front of the green. And one of the analysts was just talking about how much downtime, how much time he had to wait before he hit that shot. And one of his playing partners in his group is a guy named, I believe it's Akshay Bhatia.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And they're showing how long it took for this guy to hit a shot. And Rory's over there with he's going club pro guy on him. He's going, let's go. And they were talking about how Rory just had to wait and wait and wait. Maybe he lost a little of his concentration, hit that chip, knowing better that you can't hit it there or it's rolling off the green. What about that? Having to wait so long to hit a shot, do you think that had any effect on Rory having such a bad hole on 15?
Yeah, I could certainly agree with that to a point. My concern is, how fast it is. When Rory has played enough, he knows how fast it is and how fast that can get away. Obviously, everybody should know that it pays any attention to the Masters, how tightly they mow it around those areas. And when we were there, we watched several guys go back to where he was and hit several chips, some to where the pin's going to be basically on Sunday, some to where the pin's going to was yesterday, which is more on the right-hand side of the green when you're playing into the green. And so, listen, I thought he probably should have putted the ball. A little Texas wedge there wouldn't have been such a bad deal, but I think it would allow you to control it a little bit better, to hit that shot and nip it and be able to put a little bit of spin so it grabs. Is really, really hard to do. And when you watch the replay in really slow motion, to me, it looked like, I don't want to say he caught it fat, but he didn't nip the ball. He wasn't ball first. Then it was almost like ball and the ground got hit at the same time. And that produced that top spin, and you can't control that at all. So we'll see. I really would love to see him win it. But I feel like, and no offense to Rory, but I feel like, it's like watching N. Baker Finch trying to make a 4-footer. It's just not going to happen. It's yippee. And I told somebody the other day, I was like, I know that I wouldn't be a good reporter because I would love to ask the question, a 2-part question to Rory. One, what do you go through to get prepared for the Masters? And 2, when you step on 10, does that snipe hook that you hit several years ago into the cabins pop back into your head? I know
No, not until you asked me, but thanks.
Right. Fred Ridley would clearly point me to the door and say, "Thanks for coming. Don't come back." But in all seriousness, I mean, they've got to be some of those things that pop back into these guys. It has to, to be able to, Spieth is another one. I mean, it's like the moment he hit those 2 balls in that water on 12, like it's like the whole thing changed for him. And so, I assume that, to me, I think that Rory's got the game. He's got the knowledge. I mean, Jack even talked about it in his interview, that he had him sit down with him and go through every shot. And how are you going to play it? And Jack said, I wouldn't change a thing. So it's just a matter of mentally getting over that hump and being able to, do this. So, and that's the problem with Rory the last several years is that his first round score is not good. So now he's chasing and he's trying to catch up for the next 3 days.
How about
what's
this?
The protocol? Okay, go ahead.
How about this? Speaking of Nicklaus, heard this yesterday, and he was talking about, going hole by hole as you just described, Will. But he talked about number 12. He hit his only ball into Rays Creek the first time he ever played Augusta. Think about how many other rounds he played at Augusta National. Never hit it in the water again, ever.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Tiger's talked about it too. When Tiger was really young, having the opportunity to play with Jack and Arnold, and that he asked about playing, 12, I'm pretty sure it was Jack that told him, he's like, I play over here. I'm right over the top of the bunker. I may play, toward the left side of the green, which is even more meatier, if you will. It's got a little bit more room over there. But Jack never messed with the right side of the green, hardly ever. And if it's kind of like, oh God, who was the? It may have been Ben Hogan that said, if you find me on the green on number 11 in 2 shots, I missed my second shot. Right. I'm going to play out away from that water, chip it up onto the green, take my 4 and get out of there. And so, I think some of that you have to know, and Rory knows that now. It's just, can he execute and make some putts, 15 that was heartbreaking to watch that. So hopefully he can get it rectified. It would be cool for me to be able to say that at least in my lifetime, and I don't know how many other opportunities we'll have, that I was able to see Tiger win a career Grand Slam, Rory win a career Grand Slam. And I think, the next one would be probably either Spieth or Scotty.
Okay. That'd be great. What is the protocol necessarily? Say you were in the group on 18 yesterday with Nick Dunlap, and he's coming up the fairway. And what do you guys? Man, that's a pretty azalea right there. Look at that, man. Whew. How about that shot?
I told a good friend
how does that
of mine
go?
That
How do you?
I told a good friend of mine I would have looked at my caddy and said, okay, listen here. And about hole 16, when it said, listen, you and I are going to agree that I have tweaked my back. We're going to finish 18.
Oh, my arm.
And then we are going to politely sign our scorecard, let the Masters Committee know that we've tweaked our back. And I'm going to go ahead and hop on the PJ and head on back to Tuscaloosa or Birmingham, wherever he is living now. And, and I may have to sit out another 2 or 3 weeks to make it seem more believable. But there's no way I am teeing it up on Friday.
Okay, so round 2 of the Masters is underway. Who's a guy that you think can make a move today?
I really, I don't know that it's going to happen, but I like DeChambeau in this deal. I think he has kind of figured this thing out and how to play it with his style. I like for him to make and he did last year. He came out of the gate red hot, shot 6 or 7 under in the first round. I like for him to do something. I think you'll see him do something today like that. Um, the other one that I think you could see somebody jump out would be Rory. I mean, that was a very disappointing 1 over par. It's just a couple shots here and there. You get a little momentum, and especially if you can get a little momentum coming off of 13 with 15, 16 to go, you could throw up a 66, a 65 pretty easily for these guys. So those would be the 2 guys that I would keep an eye on. Just to put something together. I think they can make a run.
DeChambeau was at a place that I rarely spend much time. The practice tee, late into the night last night. They had to turn the lights on for DeChambeau. He was out there hitting so many balls.
And, they talked about his range ball count because they track it at Augusta. They have the I don't know if it's TrackMan range or whatever, but they have that ability, and that he was somewhere in the neighborhood of high 300s last night after his round.
Holy
we need to put that in perspective. I mean, listen, you go to Capitol Hill and you get a large bucket of balls. It's 120 balls. Now that's 27 holes for most everybody, really. I mean, and he hit into the high 300s last night. And so that's but that's again, that's who he is. He's everybody jokes and says the mad scientist kind of thing, but he really is looking, going, okay, I need this to carry this far. I need this club to carry here. My spin rate is good on this club, or what. He's all into those numbers, and so that's a lot of golf balls. I mean, that is, well, for John and I, that's probably just 36. Maybe 54 holes, but for DeChambeau, that's a week's worth of play.
John's never hit 300 golf balls in practice balls in his life. Count them all up.
Yeah, no kidding. Geez, I will let our listeners and viewers know how they can get more information about what you got going on up at Capitol Hill Tee Times. More information. Your pro shop's fully stocked. Golf is in full swing.
Yeah, they can give us a call at 334-285-1114. And check us out online at rtjgolf.com. Come out and check us out. And if you don't want to play, come out and enjoy the practice range. There's a lot of good space for you to get good work-ins in. And then last but not least, John, if you haven't bought your trail card for the 2025 year, it's $50. Buy your trail card. You'll save money immediately the day you buy it and get the trail card price versus paying the regular price.
Outstanding. Will, thank you so much, my friend. We greatly appreciate your insight and expertise, and we invite everybody to and encourage everybody to come see you at Capitol Hill.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy the Masters.
Appreciate you. Thanks very much. Will Fisher, the director of golf at Capitol Hill and the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail in Prattville, where John is right now on location at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on Cobbs Ford Road.
Yeah, Barry, #1 CDJR dealer in Alabama is right here at Stivers in Prattville, where Freedom of Choice pricing program is underway. Only #1 Stivers offers below employee pricing. So come check it out for yourself. The Ram lineup, the Jeep lineup, the Chrysler, the Dodge, so many great deals for you to check out at incredible discounts here at Stivers in Prattville. When we return, I see it on the screen. Chris, get ready. The Victoryland 777 topic wheel is going to be up next.
Yep. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight. presented by Bud Light.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the River Bank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to Banking Above and Beyond at River Bank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust.
Okay, back at it here on this Friday. I see the topic wheel is up and ready to go. Let's see what Gurn Jr. has for us on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. How's it going? Let's spin it. Sammy Ball.
Sammy Sosa.
Sammy Sosa. Burnt nuggets.
Nuggets. That's what you get at the nudist beach.
Yeah, you're right. What?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah. How about that? How about the Nuggets, who were in fourth? They were in playoff contention. They won the championship, a couple of years ago. And they fire their coach and their GM this late in the year on the eve of the postseason. Shocking. Now, here's the deal. The GM, maybe. The coach, no. Did you know, of course, their best player, Nikola Jokic, who is maybe the best player in the NBA. He's been a multiple-time MVP of the NBA. Believe it or not, he is the only one of the last 24 MVPs who has never had a teammate, never, and he's been there 10 years. He has never played along a single teammate who's been an all-star, all-NBA, or all-defensive player. So when they've been winning, and they've been winning a lot, they won it in 23, it's been literally all him. So they get rid of their coach, they get rid of their general manager right before the playoffs, and they're going to be in. They're in fourth place. If they make a deep run, then it's going to make the Nuggets ownership look like idiots. That was a shocker.
No kidding. I mean, can't you wait till the season's over? Come on. What's going on up there in the Mile High City?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what else is next here on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel as it spins around and around and around. It's going to land on
Troy.
Troy. There we go. Do you even know where Troy is anymore?
Literally, I have not been home since a week ago Wednesday, which was the 4th, which was the 2nd. I have been on 9 days, and I've still got 3 days to go. And it is a big time for Troy Athletics. I am in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Troy baseball begins a 3-game series in Sunbelt play against James Madison starting at 5 o'clock Central. Tomorrow is T-Day. Lunch with Legends at 11 o'clock in the morning with, among others, Super Bowl hero Lawrence Tynes, Corey Robinson, DeWitt Betterson Sr., Chris Blackshear will be the MC. You can still get tickets. They got to be purchased in advance. TroyTrojans.com/tickets. At noon, it's the Future Trojans Youth Football Camp. Some of the players will be helping to coach that. TroyTrojans.com/YouthFB Camp. The Troy Athletics Yard Sale at the Vet is at 1. That's on the West Concourse. And then T-Day begins at 2 at the Vet. Free admission for everybody. Several prizes will be given away for that as well. More information at TroyTrojans.com. Then at 4 o'clock tomorrow, it's softball versus Georgia Southern at the Troy Softball Complex. That's the second game of the series. Tonight, softball opens up the series at 6 against Georgia Southern. It is Barbie night tonight. First 150 fans receive a pink Troy Barbie T-shirt as part of the overall theme.
Barry, is this road trip you're on longer than the road trip you went on in our first year when you went to the SEC baseball tournament?
That one was 11 days. I was gone for 11 days at the College World Series. Both Auburn and Alabama were in it up in Omaha. And, I mean, that was long. This one will be parts of 12 days from that Wednesday afternoon. On the Monday show, I'll be back in my home studio, but I will only have gotten about 3 or 4 hours worth of sleep. So, yeah.
All right, let's spin it one more time before we go, and then we'll save some of these for next week if they're appropriate, which I think they will be. We're spinning it around, and it's going to land on Sammy. Sammy Sneed? Sammy
Spieth.
Sammy Spieth. Wow.
That's Jordan Spieth's kid. Check out the swing.
Jordan Spieth eliminating himself from competition with the very first swing.
Yeah.
Let it rip, Sammy.
I think Sammy's 3. Sammy's 3 years old. What about Rory's little girl? I think her name is Poppy or something like that. They let her putt out. She had a dicey little 12-footer. I mean,
it rolled down the hill. She caught the break, and man,
boom.
I'm amazed how they get these little jumpsuits for the little ones. I mean, they got them for the kids. They got them for the wives.
Custom tailored or something.
They got jumpsuits for every body size imaginable.
Yeah.
All right, I do see we're getting close to the 9 o'clock hour. Gurn, keep those for next week. We'll get into those as well on Monday as we recap the Masters, recap some baseball, some spring football as well. Got a lot going on. We'll give you a little teaser, Barry. Next Wednesday, Luganville is going to join us to kind of give a spring football recap. So we're looking to forward to Lugs joining us on Wednesday, but we got a lot going on Monday, so let's don't get ahead of ourselves.
That's right. A lot between now and Monday, including opportunities at Stivers, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Cobbs, Ford Road, and Prattville, where John is on location.
The number one CDJR dealer in Alabama is right here in Prattville, and the Freedom of Choice pricing program is going on now. Only at number one Stivers are they offering below employee pricing. Below employee pricing right here on Cobbs Ford Road, Alabama, Northwest Florida's largest volume Ram dealer. Why? Because price sells cars. Come by and see our friends here at Stivers in Prattville.
In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.